we'll go ahead and take you through some of the dailies here this morning. I think there's going to be one day where there'll be no dailies. They'll be on break. So
yeah, I think
prepare for that.
Happens for the new year or so.
So prepare for that. So you can imagine then if there is one of such days where the press blanks out every information in protest of something.
Let's not do one day. Let's do 1 week.
What? You see, I was talking about 1 day.
I don't know. I wonder if they'll miss this much, though. I mean, there's social media. Well, who's feeding social media?
That's the problem, because social media, do they have people in, well, look, another story for another time, I know. Take a look at Vanguard newspaper. 50% fares cut. FG rallies to pay transporters. Help Nigerians by reducing petrol costs. Transport operators tell FG. This is, by the way, we highlighted yesterday too. Vow not to comply with 50% transportation fare reduction. Okay, so you need to put this in context. I don't think it was a blanket order. I think they are reaching out to a few of those transport companies to pay for some of those. So if they're going to pay some of those, you can't vow nothing. Because if you accept the deal, you have to do for your own end of the bargain. But this is what is reported anyways. And then you see...
I was going to ask you to repeat it.
Which one? Where they're saying they're vowing not to comply with 50%? Nah, it's just those who are not in the scheme. So they can say whatever they want.
Yeah, those who are not in the scheme, I mean, they have no obligation.
So why vow then?
What's the vow about?
Why we picked 5 transport firms for Yuletide ride ascribed to FG. So you see, 5 transport firms. So if these 5 were the ones picked, can they vow not to? I doubt it. Chisco, Young shall grow, God is good. 2 others make list. Luxury bus owners commend FG. Mobilize members for implementation. Traders, customers blame fuel subsidy removal for low patronage. So, all there for you on the front page. And this is really concerning here, just beneath this lead story. NBA demands prompt release of kidnapped judge, driver in Akwa Ibom. So, I mean, for a while, you never heard any of such narrative from Akwa Ibom. But now, a judge on her way back from the court, herself and the driver were kidnapped. Naira
could happen in relation to any judgment she gave?
We don't know. So that's the thing, why people should try and see if you can connect the dots. But information is very scanty at the moment on that matter. Naira scarcity. CBN threatens banks, POS operators. They're asking people to report any of the banks or anyone who is found engaging in this act, because they say, look, this is not right. But I just wonder how activities of such persons can impact Naira so much, you know. Even though the Minister of Information did say yesterday that the CBN is they're trying to print a lot more to ensure that they stave off this kind of
they need to do far much more, because look, yesterday, just speaking with, and I don't know, Lagosians can attest to this, Bukola and Ayo, we understand Egmi has been under maintenance for a while now, and so many parts of Lagos have been without electricity, some from between 3 to 5 days. It's been total blackout. We understand that attempts are now, on to bring power supply back, but it's been a period of hardship for, many families who, some of them have gone shopping for this season, money that is scarce. You take it, you shop with it, and then you come back, and then there is no electricity to preserve the items that you have bought. In some instances, you want to buy petrol, to fuel your little generator. There are queues everywhere. You don't understand what is going on. And then to make matters worse, sometimes you don't even have cash. So there's cash scarcity. You're not wondering what precisely is it? Who did we offend?
Well,
I don't know if the authorities are really they have a way of listening to the people at the grassroots. They don't really have that listening mechanism to understand what the experiences are like from maybe week to week. what their quality of life is like. I really do hope that electricity returns, and Bukola and Ayo, you guys can let us know. Well, that is if you're not living in Greater Lagos. But if it's also affecting you, you can let us know. I mean, or if you have heard this, if you've heard these tales of, you know, maintenance and how it's affecting electricity supply. But really, it's been quite a harrowing experience for some Lagosians.
Yeah, but just before you guys go on with that one, when you come to the dailies, in case you're wondering, look at this. No blessing for same-sex unions. Nigeria's Catholic bishops insist.
Yeah, there's been plenty of misconception around that and misunderstanding. But certainly, controversy is really brewing in the Catholic Church over the Pope's statement. But let's take a look at Daily Trust. We can always talk about that another time from those who should know. Daily Trust is another paper we're looking out for you here. Low turnout, lack of cash, federal government's 50% discount for travelers. 5 million commuters targeted for support. That's according to Information Minister. 5 companies approved for logistics. Racketeering returns to Rigasa train station. So they're very specific about the train station. So the Nigerian Railway Corporation has its work cut out for it to ensure that, you know, racketeering is
it's supposed to be online booking.
Exactly. But if a train station manager is not doing what he or she is supposed to do there, you know, then some things will fall through the cracks, because you see this report is very specific. You also find right here, Port Harcourt Refinery begins operation after Christmas. Oh yes, we've seen the gas flare, but I don't think that we're going to be seeing any fuel from there just yet. So we'll be waiting to see that. And this data is very important. 88% of Nigerians self-employed. That's according to the National Bureau of Statistics. So while employment figures now look like what we do not recognize anymore, people have said, oh, we've got to manipulate our employment figures. NBS says, no, we're just using new and modern standards. They released it, was it this week? But they also have very vital data which might interest the government. 88% of Nigerians are self-employed. NMPP supporters resort to prayers as Supreme Court reserves judgment. So yesterday they're expecting the ruling on Kano, Supreme Court judgment on Kano, and that didn't quite come out as expected. At the bottom here, CBN investigator. Excuse me. I did say something about the weather at the beginning of this program. Hamatan is in full swing here in Abuja, so excuse our voices from time to time. CBN investigator uncovers 593 foreign accounts opened by Emefiele.
Say what?
Yes, you heard. 593 foreign accounts opened by Emefiele. Over 543 million pounds in UK fixed deposits, more in USA, China. Additional infractions discovered in Nigeria. So you find all of the details on page 5 of the paper. Well, I hope this is not just some media thing we're just going to be seeing on the pages. I mean, the man is currently in custody. Has he regained his freedom? I think he has. Maybe he's been able to perfect his bail conditions. But this is what you're seeing on the front page of Daily Trust.
This is mind-boggling.
It is. I mean, if this is really the situation,
because people mental breakdown if you try to process it or analyze it.
593 for on whose behalf? Is it on behalf of the federal government, on behalf of Nigerians, or on his own personal behalf? Or don't run ahead. Don't run away with the headlines. Read the story, please. Read the story. This particular story, read it, okay?
I'm almost running away with that headline.
I know, it's very tempting to. But let's leave it there for Daily Trust.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Up next is Daily Independent. But, you know, for emphasis' sake, please read the story. And I'm tempted to ask, the CBN investigator, is he or are they acting on behalf of the federal government, on behalf of the prosecutor general of, the government? So read the story before we run ahead.
Aren't you supposed to resist temptations?
That's what I'm asking, okay. So is he acting on behalf of the government? let's not reach our conclusions yet, you know.
And let's also hear from
Mr. Emefiele's lawyer.
Okay.
So up next is Daily Independent. And by the way, Marco, you were also asking about the power supply situation. Some of us live in areas that are self-sufficient where power supply is concerned, but we're not removed from the challenges, and we know that a number of Nigerians also have become on their own self-sufficient where power supply is concerned, relying on their generators. But the cash problem, the CBN needs to speak to it. You know, I spoke with POS operators the other day, and they say they've resorted to creative ways of sourcing for cash, that the banks, they're not relying on the banks anymore. The banks are not making cash available. So what exactly is happening, CBN? Please let us know. Daily Independent is up next this morning, and the big story is on the Port Harcourt refinery. Of course, we heard the breaking news yesterday. NNPC attains mechanical completion of Port Harcourt refinery, achieves flare startup of refinery's Area 5 plant. Dangote refinery gets second 1 million barrels of crude. So cumulatively, we have Dangote, which is 650,000 barrels capacity, and Port Harcourt 1 refinery that has been completed and recommencing operations after Christmas has 60,000 barrels per day. So cumulatively, we have 710,000 barrels per day capacity.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So my question is, will there be a fall in the price of petrol? And we also know that, you know, the price of crude on the international market is going down as well. So, you know, we need to ask these questions. We need to secure the commitment of the NNPCL, GMD, and the marketers to ensure that the price of petrol goes down. Nigerians deserve this. There are quite a number of other stories on the front page of Daily Independent this morning. This one will interest you. FG plans to increase flying hours to sunset airports for Yuletide. So airline operators want to also be part of that largesse, not just increasing their flying hours. And lastly, Supreme Court reserves judgment in Yusuf Gawuna tussle for Kano Guba. Let's leave it there for Daily Independent.
The Nigerian Observer leads with firecrackers. Yes, check out the front page of the Nigerian Observer this morning, and what do you have? Firecrackers light up Nigerian skies despite ban and economic pressure. What does that mean? The details you'll find on the front page, and it continues on the inside pages, page 4 to be precise. Right above the nameplate, Edo steps up security, assures H-free Yuletide. Story is also there. And that picture on the front page, Nollywood's new capital, Edo to the world. What does that mean? Again, read the story. That's the Nigerian Observer this morning.
This Nigeria, let's try that. And the lead story here this morning, Nigeria's unemployment rate rises to 4.2% in Q2 2023, ascribed to the NBS right there. 88% of employed Nigerians primarily self-employed, only 12% engaged as employees. There you go. And then also at the bottom strip, Emefiele, special investigator, submits damning report to president. But okay, so there you go. They have a picture on the front page which they had reported previously, which says banks, industry chiefs panic as report on Emefiele ready for submission to president. Okay, so we'll see. That's this Nigeria today. Okay, so that also ends it with a look at some of the dailies here this morning. We're back in a moment to start off with the questions on Port Harcourt refinery. Don't go away.